colorless, much like myself. But with the rise of gender-fluid fashion and high-profile non-binary celebrities, that is changing. Alok Vaid-Menon, the author and artist and activist behind the degender fashion movement, says a truly gender-fluid approach to designing could allow room for a much more expressive, flexible, and even flamboyant wardrobe. Vaid-Menon, who uses the pronoun they, them, says gender-free is not actually about the death of fashion, it's about the Renaissance. When we remove this stringent idea of, am I making clothes for men or women, we begin to actually dwell on the fabrics, the colors, the sense, the feeling, the effect that often gets lost when we're just regurgitating gender stereotypes, end quote. New designers are embracing this, like Mick Carter, who is a genderqueer Toronto fashion designer who creates collections for his company, L'uomo Strano. He said his main objective is to use clothing to empower non-binary folks, including male-identified but femme-presenting people like himself, to, quote, feel like their truest sense of self. Watch this.
No, just like one shoulder out.
Meet Mick Carter. His fashion designs are turning heads, not only for how they look, but who can wear them.
I guess in the most basic terms, non-binary clothing is clothing for non-binary people. It sort of creates space away from what menswear, what womenswear sort of does, where it kind of accentuates certain parts of the body in very gendered ways. But I think that what non-binary clothing really allows for you to do is it allows for you to design beyond a body. It allows for you to kind of design for a body as a canvas, and I think it's so freeing. You know?
Carter teaches about gender-neutral clothing at Ryerson's School of Fashion, inspiring future designers to be more inclusive so people like him don't have to struggle.
As a very, very tall and at times quite imposing black person looking through women's clothing racks, you would often get like stares, and sometimes stares can be very benign, but also depending on the day and depending on the person, those stares can be very violent. And so that process was becoming more and more uncomfortable for me.
It's those experiences that led him to launch the non-binary clothing line L'uomo Strano, housed in Ryerson's social venture zone.
Style and fashion are at times the very first tool and the strongest tool that you can use to express your gender or your identity, particularly if it's in flux or if it's changing or if it's transitioning.
Carter's designs are creating change not only on the runway, but in life.
Non-binary fashion can lead to some really rich conversations with people who have never interacted with non-binary people or trans people or gender non-conforming people, and those conversations can be really transformative. I feel like non-binary fashion is the future.
I love this story because, I mean,
Both the Gap and Uniqlo both have some unisex or non-gender specific clothing on their websites. So this is a movement that's starting in something that's more high fashion and coming to mainstream retail. And I think this is a great movement for the community and for fashion.
You know, this is a perfect example of one of the reasons I really love Queer News tonight, because we're all about irony, which is a focus of this story. And that's why when John Hayden gets to be the fashion reporter at Queer News tonight, I'm just all about it.
Is that irony or more shade? It sounds like shade to me. I think this is the next frontier of fashion. Fashion that's non-gendered, fashion that can be worn by many different types, different body types as well. And I just think it's very exciting. I am absolutely here for it.
I'm all about the past in this case, coming back to the future. When you look back at the medieval times, you look at the royalty of, you know, of the European nation, they were all wearing clothes that were full of lace, and the founding fathers had powdered wigs. So I think this is great.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Lara are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like